Ever wanted your smart home to scream at intruders, text you in all caps, and maybe even slap you awake when the door opens at 3 a.m.? Well, meet Alarmo, home assistant DIY alarm system that's smarter than a raccoon with PhD in breaking in. We'll start in couple of seconds. Alarmo is home assistant integration that turns your house into digital fortress. Some of the things it includes are modes, for example, away, home, night, and vacation, since burglars do love to go on vacation in your home when there is a vacation. There is also option to use entry or exit delays so that you do not trip it when you are going to fetch your mail, or for example, if you forget that you also need your keys to lock the house and then go back inside, and yeah, it happened to me a couple of times. But that's not all. You can also assign individual pin to each and every family member. There is option to use bypass sensors, smart notifications, and of course the most important thing is zero YAML if you do not want to use YAML. But yes, it's like a home alone but with fewer pan cans and more MQTT. Again, if you want to use MQTT. If you do not want to use MQTT, everything can be done through the UI. The documentation is excellent and very comprehensive. It will guide you through each and every configuration step, some advanced options which I will not go into details today, but definitely check it out, because you have to go to GitHub repository in order for you to give star to this excellent component, and that way to say thanks to the author for creating it. This component has been actually on the market for a very long time, but only recently I have started to using it frequently. Previously, I just installed it for the testing, but now I'm using it daily at my summer house. And now it's time for the installation. So your lights turn on when you walk in, your coffee starts brewing before you're out of bed, and your robot vacuum is basically your most reliable roommate. But what about your online privacy? If your home is smart, your internet protection should be smarter. That's where Surfshark VPN comes in. Every smart device in your home is chatting with the internet. Your TV, fridge, even that suspiciously noisy toaster. Without protection, all that data is like an open mic night for advertisers, ISPs, and of course hackers. Surfshark VPN encrypts your internet traffic, helping keep those digital conversations private. It's like soundproofing your digital home digitally, and checking your security camera or unlocking your front door over public Wi-Fi. That's basically asking strangers to house sit your data. Surfshark keeps your data on any network, coffee shop, airport, or your cousin's totally secure Wi-Fi called FBI WAN 3. One Surfshark account covers unlimited devices, so your laptop, phone, tablet, smart fridge, and even your connected light bulbs can all be protected. And Surfshark keeps no logs of your activity, unlike your smart speaker, which definitely remembers that time you asked it to play Baby Shark. Tired of giving your real name and email to every website? Surfshark's alternative ID lets you create a masked identity, so you can dodge spam, unwanted marketing, and sketchy data leaks. Look, you've made your home smart. Now make your online life secure. Go to surfshark.com/beardythinker, that's my link, or use my code BeardyThinker on the Surfshark website. You'll also get an exclusive deal, 4 extra months of Surfshark for free, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. Encrypt everything, protect your smart home digital life, and keep those hackers guessing. Get Surfshark VPN today. There are a couple of steps that we need to do to have everything set up. We need to install the HACS component, the integration part. There is optional card that you can use that is much better than the internal Home Assistant alarm card. And of course, after that you can play with the automations. You do not have to set up automations, but there is one neat automation that I'm using, especially if you are living in a house and not in an apartment, and it really works awesome. So let's get started. First things first, we need to install it through the HACS. In the search field type Alarmo, click on it, click on download, and since this is an integration, we will need to restart our Home Assistant. But while we are already here installing things, let's go back and let's click also on the Alarmo card. This card is not mandatory, but it has some nice functionality that the internal Home Assistant card doesn't have. So once again, click on Alarmo card, Click on download. The latest version at the time of recording is version 1.6.2. Click on download and reload. That's it. Now we can restart our Home Assistant. Now that Home Assistant has restarted, let's finish the installation. We need to go to Settings, Integrations, click on Add Integration, and type here Alarmo. This is needed to activate Alarmo integration that we just installed. Click on it, select an area, and click Finish. That's it. It's easier than setting up IKEA furniture, fewer Allen keys and more satisfaction. But we still need to configure things, so let's proceed with the configuration. In the left navigation bar, you should now see a new option called Alarmo. Click on it and there are few tabs for us to configure. First one is called General. There are options here that you can customize to your own preferences. For example, disarm after triggering. Some of you may prefer that. I like to have ignore blocking sensors when rearming. That means that even when the alarm is triggered, any times out, it will still arm back the system and not go into the disarm mode. Next one is you can enable MQTT, and then you can use this to configure MQTT connection if, for example, you also want to have data in the MQTT and then send it somewhere else. I'm not using this one, so I will not enable this one. Next option is to configure modes. Modes allow you to separately or differently configure what will trigger the alarm depending on the state or mode it is in. For example, Armed Away can include all sensors, external sensors, for example, cameras and people detection in the cameras, which I have set up in my place, but also internal motion sensors. Armed Home means that, for example, it can get triggered by the external person detection sensors or the cameras, and, for example, your basement door. Night mode, for example, can be triggered so that if you are living in a multi-floor house, all the other floors except your bedroom are armed, and if there is any motion in the kitchen, basement or somewhere else, the alarm is triggered, but you can safely move on your upper floor. And then of course we have Armed Holiday, which some of you may think of Armed Away, but there are settings that you can customize and make different for each of the modes. And then also we have Armed Custom Bypass mode, if for example you want to bypass some sensors, if for example you want to customize your own security perimeter. So how do you do and how do you configure things? For example, for Armed Away, we have 0 active sensors. Click on them, and then we have a list of all the sensors that can be added. Remember, these are not only motion sensors. These can be other sensors. For example, this one here, basement floor wet. That means that not just intrusion will trigger the alarm, you will also get notification if there is a water leak in your basement. We can add bathroom, dining room window, living room window, locker room window, backyard sensor, and Zeta room window for the sensors. As you can see, I do not have that much active door sensors, but don't forget to add your door sensors too. Let's add this to alarm. If you have smoke sensor, you can actually add also smoke sensors to it. If you have cameras with temper sensors, you can add temper sensors there. And now we have all the sensors here that we will be monitoring for the Armed Away mode. That means that 9 sensors are active for the Armed Away and only 7 sensors are active for the Armed Home. But there are still some other options. For example, we can define the exit delay. It can be 1 minute, but it can be less, for example 30 seconds, or we can make it longer to, for example, 5 minutes. Same can be done for the entry delay. It can be shorter or it can be longer. And also trigger time, for example, you can either shorten it or make it longer up to 1 hour to have alarm in the trigger state. If you want, if you have enough time, you can also define different areas. For example, we now have one area that has 9 sensors, but we can create test zone and we'll be copying settings from the Alarmo, click save, and then we can add sensors to that area too. If you want to move sensors from an area to an area, you just click on the sensor and select in which area is this sensor located. For example, this one is located in a test zone. You can set advanced settings, is it always on, do you want it to get triggered when unavailable, etc, etc. Let's save this. And now if we scroll back, we can see that Alarmo area has 8 sensors and test zone has 1 sensor. Let's now move to the sensors list, which we actually already looked at. This is the list of all the sensors that are included or can be used by your system. You can here enable or disable specific sensors, and already we've seen that you can assign them to specific area. Next, we have options to play with code. Setting it up is really easy. First off, let's create a new user. Let's call this one Postman. Let's add the most secure code we can add, and this is 1234. Confirm code 1234. Is this code used for arming, and also is this code used for disarming? You can, for example, disable code for arming, but enable it for the disarming. In what restricted areas can this code be used? For example, you want to enable it only in the Alarmo group. Is this override code or master code? Yes or no? Click on Save. Now that we have one code enabled, we can play with the code settings. Is it required to use code for arming? Do you require to use code for disarming? Do you require code for switching modes? I will leave both of those on, and then you can set if you want to use PIN code or password. And that's it. Now we have set up more or less everything, but we didn't set what will happen if something is triggered and similar things. For that, we need to get to Actions. Click on Actions, and now you can play with notifications. As far as I know, there is a one limit here which I'm not liking, but there is a way on how to work around that one, and that is to send multiple notifications. Internally, the system only sends notifications to one mobile phone in each of the notification actions. So let's start with it. Click on New Notification in the event, and the event can be alarm is armed, disarmed, triggered, no longer triggered, failed to arm, exit delay started, entry delay started. So for example, let's start with this alarm is armed. Select an area, master, alarm or test zone. I will leave master, select mode, let's say away and home, so that both modes, when set to armed, will trigger the notification. The task is to send notification to my mobile phone, and as you can see here you can only specify one. If we go to YAML, also one, because this is a service call, title, alarm is armed, and then for example we may want to insert the bypass sensors or which sensors are bypassed, and also ARM mode. If we check the YAML code, we can see that the message will look like this. The alarm is set to ARM mode, then we have dash and the list of bypass sensors. Bypass sensors are all those sensors that were not currently available when the system was arming. For example, they are not currently available because of the bad signal or there is a low battery. Title of the message or notification will be Alarm is armed. Give this a name, notify Pixel 9 Pro XL upon arriving, and click on Save. And yes, it arrived. You can repeat those notifications for example, if alarm is triggered, master, mode, all modes, target, let's say this phone now, title, alarm is triggered, and the message will look like this. Alarm is triggered, then the alarm is triggered, cause is the open sensors. This is the list of the sensors that have been triggered. Give it a name, click on Save, and that's it. We now have two notifications. One is arming, and the other one is triggered. But now we can also create actions. Actions are what you can do based on the trigger or based on the condition of sensors. The main action we want to configure is to sound the alarm. Click on New Action, Event, Alarm is triggered, Master Area. If you want to limit based on the mode, we will leave those two modes included, and then use Entity, Siren, and then use also other siren we have in the system. We want to turn it on. Give it a name, Sound the Siren. Save. But don't forget to add one additional action, and that is when the system goes from triggered to normal, armed or whatever mode, you want the siren to stop. That's why we need to create new action. Alarm is no longer triggered. Master, mode. Let's select both modes. Entity, siren. This was the first one. Second one, and turn it off. Give it a name and save it. We now have two actions. One will be triggering the siren when the alarm is triggered, and the other one will stop the siren when the alarm is not in a triggered mode anymore. And that's it. So just a brief recap. In the General tab, you can set ARMS mode, entry-exit delays, which is perfect if your cat likes to zoom out while you leave. Multi-area support for the mansion or moody basements, of course evil layers if you have one. In the Sensor tab, you can pick binary sensors, for example doors, windows, motion sensors or fridge sensors for snacks, and you can also assign them to the alarm modes, home, away, don't you dare alarm mode, etc. etc. In users, you can add pins to each of the users, give your kids a pin but don't give it to your dog, and in the Actions tab, we can configure alerts, for example send mobile notification if motion is detected, turn on siren, flash all lights red like it's a nightclub for the thieves. Pro tip, you can also use text-to-speech notifications. For example, intruder alert, you have 10 seconds to comply. This works 60% of the time, every time. We have configured everything and alarm is already set. It is working in the backend and you can do pretty much nothing with it because you do not have a way to control it. If you want a sleek alarm panel right on your dashboard, get the Alarmo card via HACS frontend. If not, you can also stick with the Home Assistant internal one. But let's quickly add the one from the Alarmo card. Click on the plus sign, select Alarm, and as you can see we have Alarm panel, Alarmo card and also Mushroom Alarm Control Panel card. Click on the Alarmo card. Here we can set actions that we want to see on the screen, armed away if available, home if available, scaling factor for the letters if you want to put it on a dashboard, touchscreen, tablet, something similar. Then you can also show icons instead of the text, keep the keypad visible, display the keypad for entering code as a pop-up, display diagnostic messages, show ready, not ready indicator on the ARM mode button, and show warning message when alarm is armed with the bypass sensors. I will leave this as is, click on save, done, and now we have alarm panel. Here you can arm the system. Currently it is arming and we have 60 seconds delay. We can try to disarm it, but we need to enter the code. And as we said, please use secure codes. 1, 2, 3, 4 is definitely the most secure code you can use. And that's it. But now let's automate the thing so it arms and disarms without touching a button. Because that's a big laziness efficiency. And I may be the laziest one. Or in my case, this looks like this. When my phone leaves the house, Pixel 7 Pro leaves the zone which is called Villa Vilecula because why not? Then what we do is we set the alarm in the away mode. Target is Alarmo and we are not using code because as I said I'm not using my codes. This makes sure that the house arms itself when you're out, just like you but responsible. But now let's look at the other automation to auto-disarm when somebody gets home. And it looks like this. When Pixel 7 Pro enters the zone called Villa Vilecula, once again, why not? Then what we do is we use Alarm Control Panel Disarm on Alarmo, on target Alarmo, to disable the alarm, so that your smart home doesn't scream at you when you come home from Costco with 40 pounds of frozen peas. If you want to go full Bond style villain, try following. For example, flashing lights red when alarm is triggered. Announce via smart speakers, the purge has begun. Or text your neighbor, help, intruder, bring the snacks. You can also play siren or barking sound via the media player. It's all up to you and this can all be customized via the automations. So there you go. Alarmo gives you pro-grade alarm features with DIY flair, fully inside Home Assistant. No subscription, no cloud, no mercy, just vibes and safety. GitHub link will be down in a video description. Subscribe if you want to booby trap your house with automations and drop a comment if your Roomba has ever triggered an alarm. Yes, something similar happened to me. And before I end up the video, I want to say thanks to all those wonderful people that are supporting me and that have become my YouTube channel members. Thank you all for all of your support. But let's not forget each and every one of you who have subscribed, watched, commented, or of course shared my videos. Thank you. If you too want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button down below and becoming a YouTube channel member for only €2 or $2 per month. Or you can go to my merchandise store and get something there. Last but not least, as always, you can send me super thanks and I will be super thankful for that. I will be seeing you next time. Until then, bye bye and have